call to order the meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Clerk?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We have 10 members present in the room and 11 members signed in civic clerk.
Very good, thank you. Now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation offered by Alder Eck. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alder Eck.
Okay, and so for my turn at doing the invocation, I've invited my pastor, Pastor Troy Murphy. He is the senior pastor of Green Bay Community Church, and he also happens to be my neighbor, lives one road over from me.
All right, thank you, Alder.
Thank you. What a privilege. Thank you, Alder Eck. Just 2 words. I promise I won't take an offering and you won't stand very long. I'm a pastor. We like taking a lot of time. What an honor it is to stand in front of leaders that are stepping into the fray of leading a city. Proverbs 11:14 says that a city fails when it doesn't have guidance, but has victory when it has many advisors. So I just want to say as a citizen, thank you for taking that step of leadership. Sometimes it's not fun. We used to raise our right hand. We do that still, I think, to swear in people. I don't know if you know why they did that. In the 17th century, it was to brand criminals. I find it kind of interesting. They would put brands in there because the judge couldn't keep track of who was who. I think it's a symbol of us today to say we're all not perfect. And so I'm going to raise my right hand as I pray because I want to be a good citizen for the leaders that are going to lead. And so that's my prayer. Will you bow with me? God in heaven, we pray for wisdom as you tell us to ask for these men and women, for us as citizens to be great followers, but Lord, for the decisions to come in the next few years for our city. God, I pray that our city, this city, Green Bay, flourishes. We pray for protection and a great sense of insight with these leaders. God, will you give them endurance to weather the comments, the struggle, the sometimes bad decisions, but often celebrating the good ones. And God, we just pray that you would make something different about this group. So thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Murphy. Now with that, we will move along to the main event, the swearing in of our new alders here, Alder's oath of office. So I will turn things over to Clerk Jeffries.
Alrighty. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome friends and neighbors to, I don't know which council this is, when we open a new Congress we have, or a new state assembly, we have a number. We should probably get a number. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
we should.
Yes, we should. So if all the alders would please stand. And as the pastor said, raise your right hand. I will not check if you're a felon or not. So you're going to repeat after me. You're going to each say your name individually. Those of you who've already signed the oath of office, so I have that. So we're just doing this verbally, which I think is important to actually verbalize your commitment to the state of Wisconsin, the United States. I state your name.
I, Jim Hutchison,
Thank you. Being duly elected
being duly elected
as an alder of the city of Green Bay,
as an alder of the city of Green Bay,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and I will faithfully perform the duties
of said office
of said
to the best of
office
my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Add deific at the end, you may say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right. Well, congratulations to all of you. We will now move along to election of Common Council President. So Attorney Bunger, you might need help with some of this, but my understanding is that we take nominations from the floor. A second is not required. So any nominations for the office of President? Alder Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that the voting be by closed ballot.
Okay. And for members, that is something that can be requested and voted on. It's up to you whether or not you'd like to do that or not. But Alder Weary makes that motion. Is there a second for a closed ballot? Seconded by Alder Stevens. On that motion, Alder Prophet.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to acknowledge that there's only 11 of us who were sworn in this evening, so I'm just wondering if we could get some guidance on the possibility to postpone the elections when there are 12 elected representatives.
Okay, thanks for that question, Alder. Attorney Bungert on that one?
Sure. So the statute actually provides, shall do the officer elections on the third Tuesday in April following an aldermanic election. So we're compelled to have a common council meeting on the third Tuesday, and the elections of the officers have to be done. There's nothing in the statute that requires that the entire, or that the entire council be seated, just that the alders that are voting and that are being nominated are qualified. And the qualification comes from signing the certification and being sworn in. So beyond that, there's nothing that's preventing us, and holding it up would be out of order.
Thanks. Back to Alder Weary.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a interesting aside or note, a few years ago, Alderman Stoyer on our swearing-in night had unfortunately fallen and landed on his head and missed that night.
That's right.
And as a punishment, we voted him as council president, so.
That is true. Any comments on the motion for a secret ballot, which had a second on it? Any comments?
Question.
Alder Hutchison, go ahead.
So since I'm on Zoom, how am I going to vote private?
Yeah, just say it real quiet.
Okay.
No, yes, you could email Director Fault.
Okay.
That's true. Alder Hutchison, just email Clerk Jeffries.
May I have the clerk's email address?
What, you should. Okay, so Alder Hutchison, which email are you most connected to right now?
I've got Gmail,
So Jim Hutch?
Jim
at gmail.com?
jimhutchis@gmail.com.
Okay. I'm sending it your way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it is. Also for the secret ballot here, what are we doing?
So I have stuff.
You have stuff?
I
Okay.
have stuff.
All right, so there's a motion and a second for a secret ballot on the election of a council president. Seeing no discussion, all in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and that motion is approved. So now the clerk has materials to be distributed, and Alder Hutchison will,
There's a nomination first.
yes, nominations, sorry. Yeah, we don't know who's running. We will now accept nominations from the floor. We need a president.
I'll nominate Brian.
Okay. There's a nomination for Alder Johnson. That was made by Alder Hinkfist. What's that?
Accept, I think we have to accept, right?
Sure. Alder Prophet.
I'd like to nominate Alder Galvin.
And Alder Prophet nominates Alder Galvin. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing none, nominations are closed. So we've got two candidates. Entertain comments from either or both candidates, if interested. Not required, but.
I think this is the first time we've ever had comments.
Like I said, not required, so just inviting it.
People know where they stand.
All right, very well. So if there's nothing further, clerk will distribute the ballots, and we will vote.
And Alder Hutchison, can you please send me an email?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to say one thing though, and I think for those that don't know, I consider Alder Galvin a dear friend, and so I think regardless of how this stands, I think both of us will be perfectly fine and go to bed well tonight. So Alder Galvin, thanks for putting your name out there just as well, and appreciate you.
You each should have pens as well. give me a minute.
I'm good. I've heard Jack.
Okay. So we have 11 votes total. Mike? We have 11 votes total. We have 7 votes for Alder Johnson and 4 votes for Alder Galvin for president.
Congratulations, Alder Johnson.
Thank you.
And now we will move along to the election for the Common Council Vice President. Any nominations for this office?
Bill Gavin.
That's your nomination? All right. Nomination has been made for Alder Galvin by Alder Hinkfist. Alder Morgan? Jennifer Grant? Okay. Alder Morgan nominates Jennifer Grant. Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Alyssa Prophet.
All right, and Alder DeLee nominates Alder Prophet. Any other nominations? Any other nominations?
Nominate Stevens.
Alder Johnson nominates Alder Stevens. It's a hotly contested race, guys. All right, any other nominations?
The cage is in the parking lot.
Right. All right, any other nominations? Seeing no other nominations, nominations will be closed. The way that we will do this, since we have multiple candidates, we will, vote until we have a majority. So that's kind of the way things will work. It's like a runoff sort of situation until we have somebody who has a majority of the votes for the council here. So this might take a bit longer, given that we have, more candidates, but that's how things will go. We don't have a motion for a closed ballot at this point.
Second.
Alder Weary makes a motion for a closed ballot.
And then, Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but like after the first vote, people could drop out if they want.
Yes.
You don't have to.
At any time,
Okay,
people
but just
can
yeah.
remove their name, withdraw if they'd like. So Alder Weary makes that motion for a secret ballot. That was seconded by Alder Johnson. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor will say aye. Opposed, say no. The ayes have it, and that ballot will be a secret one.
Mayor, did we want to afford them the same
Oh,
opportunity?
yes. Would anyone like to say a few words? Seeing none, we will do the vote.
Galvin has 2 votes, Grant has 5 votes, Profit has 2 votes, Stevens has 2 votes. That is 11.
Yeah, just say that again.
Sure, certainly. Galvin has 2 votes, Grant has 5 votes, Profit has 2 votes, Stevens has 2 votes.
So seeing that no candidate yet has a majority, as Alder Weary suggested, we'd invite anyone to drop out if they're interested in doing that. If not, I don't know if do we drop the 2? Just revote entirely with all 4?
I think so, until we get one.
Well, usually you drop the lowest performer, but they're.
Right, but we have 3.
3.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone interested in dropping? If not, because of the tie, we will just simply revote with all candidates. Going once, going twice? All right, revote. Alder Profit withdraws? No, okay. So candidates again here.
Galvin, Grant, and Stevens.
Okay,
Ready?
yeah. I know. Oh, nobody wants that.
I do.
So we have 11 votes. Galvin, 4, Grant, 5, Stevens, 2.
All right, so down to the top 2, Galvin and Grant. We will revote.
Just give me a minute.
to start off with voting controversy.
That is his right not to vote, Mr. Johnson. I'm just taking a moment to check Alder Hutchison's email. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so we have 11 votes, 6 for Bill Galvin and 5 for Jennifer Grant.
All right. Congratulations, Mr. Galvin. Now we will sort of take a minute just to reconfigure where everyone's seated. The president and vice president sit up here on the dais, so that's what we'll do now. Yeah, he's gonna leave the names.
Okay, got it.
It's really just name tags. Congrats.
Thank you. I think you got a good duo up here.
What's up?
I think you got a good duo up here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I think it'll be good.
I mean, I'm biased, but,
Is the Alder Prophet is the desk messy? Okay, we'll have it cleaned out.
Yeah, yours is fine. But I got my.
All right. Well, now that we are reconfigured, congratulations again to President and Vice President of our Common Council. Especially fitting, I think, to have the former police officer as Mr. Vice. But he's been in that role before, so I know both Alder Johnson and Alder Galvin will do a nice job leading our council, so congratulations to them. Approval of the minutes. A motion to approve the minutes from our March 19 meeting made by Alder Stevens. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Prophet.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Clerk Jeffries.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So I just wanted to let you know the minutes were very late. We had a few things going on last week. So I did send them to everyone as a PDF. If you do see any errors in the minutes, please let us know. We can we correct them at the next meeting if they're approving them now? Yes.
Yes.
So if you see any errors, please let me know, and then we can reconsider at the May 7th meeting. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. We have a motion and a second on approval of the minutes. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. approval of our agenda? Motion to approve made by Alder Prophet, seconded by Alder Galvin, was it? Yes. Yeah. Any discussion here on the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The agenda is approved. Just a couple of things under report by the mayor. Just wanted to welcome our new council. Really appreciate not just everyone who's sitting before me here, but everyone who raised their hand and put their name on the ballot and said they were interested in serving the city of Green Bay. That is not an easy thing to do, especially these days. There's a lot of scrutiny. For everybody who participated in the process. Also wanted to acknowledge in that category Mr. Presley, who has joined us. I know that election hasn't been totally put to bed yet, but there was a recount conducted, and Mr. Presley was deemed to be the victor by 16 votes after the recount. So expecting that he'll be joining us soon, but obviously want that to play out. The only other thing that I wanted to touch on was a code of conduct that we've included under Committee of the Whole. Not applying to you as alders, but really to those who join us as members of the public in the gallery. I think I always try to keep decorum in this room and for these meetings, but we haven't necessarily had something to point to. Our plan is to reference it at the front of our meetings when we get together, and then also post it in a couple locations just so people can reference it if they have questions about what kinds of behavior are acceptable or not acceptable. So that's not going to be taken up until the end of the meeting, so people can take a look if you haven't had a chance to reference that. As chair, it's my prerogative to sort of conduct the meeting how I think is best, but thought it was appropriate to bring this to council for input as well. So that's included for your reference and discussion if interested. So with that, we will move along to announcements from the council. Any announcements? Alder Weary. Mr. Mayor.
I just wanted to thank the residents of District 8 for the trust again, in putting me back here, and I look forward to a lot of big projects here in the next 2 years. I think there's a lot of big things in the hopper, and I also maybe even a little bit of spirited debate we can look forward to too. So
Maybe.
thanks. Maybe. There's a chance.
Cool. Thanks, Alder. Any other comments, announcements? Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just since we are post-vote here, I just want to thank Alder Galvin. Obviously, it's always, just like we talk about in our local elections, it's important that races are contested. I think it's important that the leadership of council be contested as well. So appreciate not only Alder Galvin, but for those that ran for vice, Alder Prophet, Alder Stevens, of course, Alder Galvin, and Alder Grant. It's a really important part of the process, and how awesome is it, though, that our body has so many leaders that are willing to stand up and want to really fight for and represent our city. So I think that's a great thing. And then I do want to acknowledge, should we call him Alder-elect Presley? Just because I do think it is important to recognize that we do have a missing person right now at our table, but obviously we'll welcome you and when that time is right and the dust settles and things are figured out. So, but thank you all. I think we're going to have, to Alder Weary's point, a really exciting and productive session, because there is a lot to do and there's a lot of incoming projects. The mayor and his staff have been really, really busy, and I think it's our really important function, really important responsibility of ours to support the hard work that they've done to really kind of build the foundation of the things we're going to get to talk about. So,
Thanks,
thank you,
Alder.
Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other comments or announcements, rather? Seeing none, we will move along to appointments. So we've got a reappointment for Brent Peters on Broadway Business Improvement District. Motion to approve made by Alder Eck, seconded by Alder Prophet. Any discussion here? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That reappointment has been made. And then beneath that, we've got standing committee appointments for all of our alders on council here, and then the alders that are receiving appointments to other boards and commissions. So I would entertain a motion for approval there. Motion to approve made by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder DeLee. Any discussion here? Alder Eck?
And I know I talked to Alder Johnson about it, and I reached out to Alder Hutchison that they're on two, he's on two that are at the same time. I just wanted to make sure that
Yep.
we knew that. Okay.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. And Alder Johnson had reached out to me to make sure I was aware of that. That was kind of a last second change, so unintended conflict, but schedules, can be moved around. I know Alder was talking about past years when P&P maybe was on a Wednesday or something. So there's a way for us to move that around, but appreciate you all noticing that and calling it out. Yeah, thank you. Anything else? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Nay. The ayes have it, and those appointments are made. We now have a public hearing. This is a public hearing on the request to approve a 4-lot certified survey map that includes the dedication of public right-of-way submitted by Troy Collins with Grafe on behalf of the Green Bay Redevelopment Authority property owner. Alder Morgan, District 3 is the alder for this project. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Clerk, let the record reflect no one is here to speak to this. We will now move along to ordinances, second reading for adoption. There is a motion to approve. I would also maybe entertain a motion to suspend the rules. Pull two, okay. Yeah, so we won't do that. Alder Prophet makes a motion to approve item 1. There's a second there, seconded by Alder Eck. Any discussion? Seeing none, we will use the board.
Just give me a moment. May vote.
Alder Hutchison?
Vote aye.
Thank you. All right, that's adopted 11-0. On to the second item here. This is a general ordinance number 8/-24, an ordinance amending Green Bay Municipal Code 2-324, parent H, Green Bay Municipal Code relating to solicitation of funds. You had a question on that, Alder Johnson?
Yeah, Alder Gavin and I were just sidebarring here for a second. Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but I think the intent of this was related to solicitation of funds. That was sort of the impetus behind this regarding elections. And is this totally unrelated?
Correct.
Because we wanted to make sure that the state amendment that passed wasn't creating a conflict in our ordinance for this.
Yeah, no, this is not that. But Attorney Bungert?
Right, so our code of ordinance, our code of ethics, or our ethics ordinance prohibits covered persons, both employees and our elected officials, from soliciting funds for the city without going through our procurement process or our competitive bidding process as required. But there are a number of departments that rely on donations that receive from other organizations, community organizations. For example, Parks receives a lot of donated items, funding, things like that, to put on different programs and different facilities and things like that for that particular department. So this creates an exemption to be able to continue facilitating those types of solicitations.
Okay, thank you. We just misinterpreted sort of the intent
Yeah.
behind that.
Not
So-
dealing with elections at all.
Good, all right, thank you.
Cool, any other?
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt made by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Hinkfist. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will use the board.
I vote aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alder.
You may vote.
And that too is approved 11-0. On to the report of the Redevelopment Authority. Motion to approve made by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Prophet. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been approved. Report of the Improvement and Services Committee. Motion to approve by Alder Eck. Seconded by Alder Johnson. Items here to be handled separately. Alder Prophet notes item 11. Any others? Seeing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved, with the exception of item 11. Your wishes on item 11, Alder Prophet?
To approve the request.
Alder Prophet makes a motion to approve that item. Is there a second for that? Seconded by Alder Weary. Alder Prophet pulled that, so she has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just would like to see, we've advertised it as a city. It's gone over for the past 2 years. I don't see a reason to deny the purchasing of rain barrels, for our citizens.
Okay, thank you, Alder. And then Director Grenier, you just want to talk to how that's been budgeted?
For the past couple of years, we've utilized ARPA funding for that, but we have built into our budget for the stormwater utility the ability to purchase those rain barrels, so that's a line item within our stormwater utility to complete the purchase of the rain barrels. Much like when we talked about our green stormwater infrastructure plan itself, every little bit helps, so getting these rain barrels out and helping divert some of that water from getting into the storm sewers is working towards our municipal separated storm sewer system, MS4 permitting.
Okay, very good. Thanks, Director. Any other discussion on that, Alder Eck?
So, excuse me, I just wanted to ask Director Grenier if it's custom and standard to advertise something before it's actually been approved by the council.
No, it's not. Those press releases were scheduled for release before the item went to council tonight, but after it came out of committee.
Okay. Well, and just to maybe note that, and you kind of stated this already, Director, but this was included in the budget that was approved by council. So the purchase of the equipment itself or the materials itself, was just recently brought to committee, but the line item itself or the funding for it was already approved by our now former council.
Well, I just wanted to point out that it was advertised prior to it being approved by the committee.
Sure. Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes appear to have it. And that item is approved. We'll move along to report of the Protection and Policy Committee. Motion to approve by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Galvin. Items here to be handled separately. Hearing none, all in favor of that report signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that report has been approved. Protection and Policy Committee granting operator licenses. Motion to approve by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Galvin. Names here to be handled separately or abstentions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Report of the Plan Commission. Motion to approve by Alder Prophet, seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately?
Mayor?
Yes. Alder Johnson.
I just need to have the record reflect an abstention on S3, which will have a corresponding item on the ordinance side, Z3, just because my employer is the applicant.
Alder Johnson notes a couple of abstentions there. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report of the Plan Commission has been adopted. Report of the Finance Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Prophet, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any items here to be handled separately? Alder Hinkfist?
Number one, through the Finance Committee last week when we were there,
Yep, we'll handle it separately. So that is noted. Any others to be handled separately? All right, hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved, with the exception of item 1. That was your wishes on item 1. Do you have a motion yet? Motion to approve by Alder Johnson, Seconded by Alder Prophet. Item was pulled by Alder Hinkfis. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Last week at the Finance Committee meeting, this came through to be approved. It's $125,000. It's just a bill. And we asked what the contract was. So this is $250,000 that the city is on the hook for Wello, which I have no issue with that. But we should have a signed contract, shouldn't we, for something like that? And I did talk to the finance director, and I know she was going to follow up on it.
Yeah.
But I just think, my motion would be, you can approve this, but we need a contract in place for the remainder of $125,000.
Okay. Alder Johnson on that?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify for Alder Hinkfist and of course for the rest of council, immediately following that meeting, Director Ellenbecker did send me a copy of that signed contract, probably other members of the Finance Committee, I believe. So we did receive a copy of that, and it may be, is it in the packet? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
Sometimes
it
they
in
get
here.
buried, so it's easy to miss.
Okay. So that is included, to Alder Johnson's point, in the packet for council. Just on that, it's important, right? It's a large sum of money. It's not city money, however. This is ARPA dollars that were originated with the federal government, went to the state. The state granted us those dollars to do redevelopment at the JBS site. So not city resources, but federal grant.
Oh, my gosh.
183 and 184 is the signed document.
Okay,
All right,
very good.
thank you.
So, yeah, thank you for that. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been approved. On to the report of the Park Committee. Motion to approve by Alder Weary, seconded by Alder DeLee. Discussion here, just an informational item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, that report has been approved. TB&P. Motion to approve by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Prophet. That's a motion to approve the report of the Traffic, Bicycle, and Pedestrian Commission. Items here to be handled separately? Two? Any others? Item 2 will be handled separately. All in favor of approving the remainder of that report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved with the exception of item 2.
Motion to refer back to TB&T.
Alder Johnson makes a motion to refer this item back to TB&P, seconded by Alder Stevens. Was pulled by Alder Johnson. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I did have a conversation with Director Grenier earlier today on this item. I do have at least one resident, possibly two, that would actually like to speak on this. They couldn't make that last meeting, so in the spirit of making sure they have that opportunity to address their government, but also I think there's an opportunity to engage in a dialogue here around the reconstruction plan for Shawano Avenue and whether or not this, some level of redesign could potentially be incorporated into that. So I'd just like to have the opportunity at the committee level to talk about that rather than here.
Got it. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
nay. The ayes have it. That item has been referred back to the commission. Next, we have a couple of informational items. Building report for March 2024 and the municipal court monthly report for your reference. Next, Committee of the Whole, the item that I had referenced earlier, for consideration with possible action to establish rules of conduct and participation for the public at Common Council and all other public meetings. Any discussion on that? Yeah, Alder Grant.
I have more of a question for Attorney Bungard. I kind of talked to Attorney Cochard after that meeting where we had someone come in asking where we were in a mask. And, a resident brought up a good point. You can't get through an airport with your face covered. Is there anything as for safety identifying reason, your eye color is an identifier, your hair color is the style. For safety and security, is that something that can be considered?
Attorney Bungert?
Sure. I'm trying to pull up the actual copy of the code of conduct, but internet is not working. Do you have a copy of it? Yep. Thank you. So just to get a little bit of context, are you trying to clarify as to
sort
whether
of
that
per-
should be like something
Can-
that's included in it.
Can we legally, require your full face to not be covered to enter the chambers?
If that's something that the council wants to look into, I wouldn't be comfortable making an opinion on that right now. I think we would need to research that a little bit as to whether there would be any kind of legal liabilities or hindrances to have that kind of prohibition, essentially. So you would be looking to add a rule that says that you wouldn't be able to have your face covered. to
Cover
be
the
able to-
entirety of your
Correct.
face. I understand, there might be
Right.
some, cultural hairdress, things like that, but I'm looking at the full entire face.
Right.
That's a good question.
No, we can look into that, but we didn't research it.
Okay.
As in terms of this
Yeah, if you
particular.
don't mind, if we
Yep.
could. Thank you.
Any other, well, I don't know if we need that. And like I said, this is something that I'm able to do as presiding officer. But looking for some discussion, I think that was a really good question there. But Alder Weary makes a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Prophet. Further discussion on that? All right, all in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been approved. On to resolutions. I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules if there's an interest. Motion to suspend the rules. Alder Eck makes a motion to suspend the rules, take these items up with one roll call vote, seconded by Alder Hinkfuss. All in favor of that will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Motion to adopt made by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Galvin. Any discussion on these resolutions? Seeing none, we'll use the board.
You may vote.
Hutchison votes aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. And those are adopted. Oh. Alder Stevens votes aye.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Approved 11-0. On to ordinances first reading. I think we might need some different treatment on these, so I'll take them up individually.
Motion to suspend the rules
On the first two? Motion to suspend the rules and take up ordinances 1 and 2 with a single vote. Seconded by Alder Galvin. All in favor of suspending the rules signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Alder Johnson makes a motion to advance. Seconded by Alder Eck. Discussion here. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. These ordinances are advanced to a second and final reading. On this next one, I've been informed by the applicant that there's a timeliness to this. And so I would entertain a motion for a first and final reading on this PUD. That requires a two-thirds vote, similar to suspending the rules to take up multiple items with one roll call vote. Alder Galvin makes that motion to make this a first and final. It was seconded by Alder Prophet. Any discussion on that? My understanding is the applicant is here if there are questions about the PUD. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Entertain a motion to adopt here. Motion to adopt made by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Galvin. Any discussion on this? Seeing none, we'll use the board.
You may vote.
Hutchison votes aye.
Thank you.
All right. We've got 10 votes in favor and 1 abstention on that. Next, petitions and communications. Any petitions or communications? Seeing none, adjournment. Motion to adjourn by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Eck. All in favor, say aye. Opposed,
Aye.
nay. The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.